Hey you guys, we're on my friend's homestead today doing a work day here, so that's exciting. I want to show you guys her beautiful water garden area. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. And they just moved this like last weekend from over here, and they situated it so nicely so that you can see it from the kitchen window. That was such a good idea.
It's a great granddaddy snail like in the borax.
I should have told you guys that she has fish in here, so you can see him like moving around every once in a while. And that, of course, keeps the mosquitoes down. And I wonder if the bees can sit on the lilies
they sure can.
and drink. I bet they can.
Bees. One time I thought I was out the kitchen window and I saw this big red creature, and I don't see long ways very good, and I thought it was a hummingbird, and it was totally bright red. And I called my family into the window and we all looked at it, and then I was like, that's not a hummingbird, that's a dragonfly or damselfly, but he was brilliant red.
Wow, yeah, it invites life into the garden.
It definitely does.
Very
it's
cool.
Very own little ecosystem.
Such a pretty little area. Very cool.
And the mosquito fish are like the little brown mouse of the fish world, and I don't feed them. I don't do anything but make sure they have water. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I'm like.
So you have a couple goldfish in that one, but mostly you have mosquito fish.
I have one koi. I started after the big freeze in 2020? 2021? 2021.
2021, yeah.
I thought I had lost all my mosquito fish.
Uh-oh.
And I was really worried about I don't want to use dunks. I'd rather keep it natural. So I went and bought some koi at the, PetSmart.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I realized was I still had mosquito fish, but only in one of them. So I started fishing them out and just moving them around so that I would have mosquito fish in all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
But if I ever had a YouTube channel, I think my name of my channel would be The Lazy Gardener.
Okay, I like it.
Easy, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, good.
If it's super, super high maintenance, it's probably not for me.
Yeah, good. I like it.
Yeah.
So pretty. And I'm realizing that I have this kind of lily pad, and you recommended that I put it in my front yard. So I made one of these in my front yard. You inspired me. And I keep trying to find something that the bees can sit on and drink. But they can just sit on the lily pads, because my lily pad is doing great now that you gave me some little pellets to fertilize it each year. Yeah. So yes. So I don't need to keep searching for something else. The bees will land on them and drink.
And we have the same variety. This is the Perry's Red. And you notice this has a much larger leaf. Like, these leaves are really big.
Yes.
And do you have snails in yours?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some snails too.
Okay.
And they will just propagate themselves. And then this water lily is a different breed. It's called a Havola, a dwarf Havola, and it has a really creamy white flower. It smells really delicious. I don't see any blooms.
And this,
coming.
You have this one.
That's Curly Rush.
Oh, I need to get some of that. I got my plants at North Haven Gardens here in Dallas. So
I got mine back when we still had the what is it called? Water lily, something. It was down in Garland, and it was all about water lily.
Oh yes, and they closed because I know North Haven Garden took over some of their took some of their stuff.
So that's where I got all my fish and my water lilies.
Oh, okay. North Haven Garden has a good setup though for stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
They had a really beautiful plant.
Oh, and this is another type of water plant.
Yeah, that's a dwarf papyrus.
So sweet. Okay, I'm gonna have to get some of these. But these take full sun, so if you had this in a shady spot, that wouldn't be.
Well, the water lilies don't want to bloom in shade. They won't bloom as prolifically in shade as they will in full sun. So if your water lilies aren't blooming, check your exposure. They're probably not getting enough sun.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing, so like had my hands down in here. I'm gonna reach in and pull this guy out so you guys can see how much baby stuff you get going on. So like this water lily.
Wow, that's a big, I didn't realize it was that big. Mine's tiny.
So it's got all this gunk down here at the bottom, but I've got a water lily growing out here.
Yeah, so it's in a pot, but it's kind of gone over the pot.
Yeah, it treats the whole.
Okay.
That is a whole ecosystem to itself. So I've got a water lily here. I've got a water lily here. And this is the pot. So all this extra stuff is growing outside of the pot. So if you have water lilies, you immediately have new friends, because there are plenty of people who want water lilies.
Yeah.
So it's a gift that gives.
Yeah.
Continues to get. And like the water lily that's blooming is this one out of the pot. And there's a baby, there's a baby. I've got multiple water lilies now. But the original water lily was growing in this pot.
Yeah, I was under the impression you needed to have the water moving to keep the fish.
No.
So I put fountains in all of mine, and I was real into that, which they get clogged up, and they're very hard to keep up with. So, but right, you inspired me to just take out the fountains and just have still, and the water lilies like the stillness.
Water lilies won't bloom in running water. They
or they won't even live well. Maybe, I don't know.
They're not as happy. Happy water lilies have still water.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been like we have some friends who have a lake house, and they have water lilies in their little lake, and it's very still. There's no moving water. There's no stream rushing by. It's very still.
Yes.
Like if you go down to the arboretum, the water lily pond is a still plate of glass.
Mm-hmm.
You're
right.
Water.
You're right.
Not where the water lilies are.
Yeah.
They do not like that.
So I could do a whole session just on the little water ponds.
Oh yeah. That baby's heavy too.
Yeah.
I've got some bricks in here.
That is a massive water lily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's a big one.
I can see how you can give them to friends.
Oh yes.
Very cool.
Have,
and you just have bricks up to keep this one closer to the top.
Yeah, these are marginals.
Yeah,
so
some of them need to be closer to the top. Some of them can be further down. The water lilies are far down ones.
Yeah, the water lily sits on the bottom, and this guy sits on these bricks.
On the bricks, yeah. Okay.
So,
so pretty.
The biggest battle that I have with this whole scenario is keeping the marginals on their bricks. They get blown over.
Sure, right.
And that happens. And,
yeah.
And anytime you disturb the water.
Mine had a little tag on it, so I put a push pin right here.
That's a good idea.
And it keeps it up there.
Yeah, I wish I'd thought about that.
And I put bricks under it. Yeah.
That would have been great.
And then, okay, today what are we doing?
So we're going, the boys are going to work on that pile of wood out there. Oh, it looks like something fell off the fence too. I'll have to fix that. We salvaged this from a house that was being extensively remodeled there. It was a small 110-year-old house, and they decided to add a second story. So this is all very old wood. Okay. And the boys are going to pound some nails out of it.
More pounding nails.
Yeah, pounding nails, because, you know, finders, keepers, and workers. So,
that's right, yes.
Yeah, this is free, but not without a cost. And then we're going to, Dash and I are going to lay out the boards to kind of create a chicken coop.
Woo!
And then a second, possibly third raised bed on the other side of the yard.
Yes, because we decided you have too much shade over here.
Yeah, it's never going to grow.
Yeah.
Beyond this line right here, it's just going to be shady pretty much all summer long.
Right, from this beautiful tree.
It's gorgeous. And then I have a pecan tree on the other side that shades too.
Yes. So that is the first step to planning where you're going to put your garden. You need 6 to 8 hours of sunlight, or it just doesn't work for you. Don't try to keep growing in the shade. It doesn't work. So yeah, so we are going to put it in that side of the yard that gets more sun, right?
It gets 6 hours of full sun.
Okay.
The patio shades it in the later afternoon, so it actually is really great for a lot of summer crops, because it's so hot here in the summer that having some afternoon shade is great.
Yeah,
morning shade is probably not as good as afternoon shade.
Truth.
Because it's just so hot here in the summer.
Yeah, the afternoon bakes it. Okay, all right, let's get started.
Okay. Worms don't care.
She has a really nice worm bin set up, you guys. So you put drainage holes in this one, and then you tucked it inside that one.
Let me pull it out. It's really heavy.
I'm gonna do one just like this because mine is too small.
So you got your holes all, you can't see the holes on the bottom. Maybe you can see them, I don't know.
But there are holes now, not really.
Holes.
But there are holes on the bottom.
And drill all the holes you want, and then the leachate, we've got worms in the bottom too. So the leachate ends up in the bottom.
Yeah.
And then periodically you need to go in, and get that, drain it off. And I just lost a bunch of worms down there.
I think this would be more insulated if you keep it in the shade.
You know, this is on the north side of my house. And Big Freeze, 2 years running, these guys are hanging in there. They have not, I've not lost them. Now, admittedly, this is a little more sheltered, but not from the north wind at all.
Right,
I was honestly super surprised they made it through.
Yeah, we've had some tough winters. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, I want to do mine just like this.
So I've had these, I bought composting worms. Actually, truth of the matter is, so one year for Christmas, I went to my husband and I said, I know you're going to think I'm completely lost it, but I really want you to give me worms for Christmas. And he, God bless him, He's been married, we've been married for almost 23 years. And he was like, okay then.
That's funny. I asked for worms for Christmas too.
Did you really?
Yes, and my mother-in-law gave me money and I went and bought worms.
Nice. I love it.
That's funny, yes. Yeah. So to harvest the
liquid.
The worm poop, or not the liquid, the worm poop, you just feed them like on one side
So
and then scoop all this out of the other side.
Yeah, and you just, so like this time I have food on this side, and then you can harvest on this side. It's buried under there. Yeah, it's buried underneath everything.
Okay, and then you would just come, you would feed them really good on this side, and then you come and just scoop out that side to put in your garden.
This is like super stupid easy worm farming, not complicated fancy worm farming. This is like super elementary worm farming.
Yeah.
So like when I harvest, I don't sift or anything. I just grab some and put it where I want.
Okay, I used to sift mine. Yeah. Okay, but it sounds better to grab and put than sift. And you get some worms probably, but I mean, there's plenty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not worried about my worm population. They're pretty indestructible.
Okay.
And they're like the most. So like if you neglect them, don't fear. I mean, you can neglect them for literally. I have gone months, literal months without really doing anything, and I come back and they're hanging in there.
Okay, good. And red wigglers are what you want to start with.
These are red wigglers.
Yeah, not red worms wrigglers? You dig out of.
Is it wrigglers or wigglers?
It's wrigglers, I think. I'm not sure.
It's wrigglers.
So my last worm bin did not make it through the really hard freeze. It froze. I took it inside. It was solid, frozen solid. I took it inside, so it didn't make it. So I love to see how other people do things, how they keep their worm bins outside, because we did try it inside and there was a gnat problem in our home, and it was not a happy thing. So definitely this 2-bin system, I think, is what I'm gonna go with soon, and maybe even get some red wigglers from Lynn and then to start mine. So that would be great. So she has these boards in them to hold the bin off and to drain, and then she's also got boards under the whole system to kind of
keep it off the ground.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And this bin has holes, the other bin does not, and it's quite heavy because it's very full. And you can see I've got a little roly-poly in here. I had slugs in the lid, so this is it's not a sterile, you know, it's a little bit of everybody's in here.
Yes.
I have
random outside.
And I'm gonna give them a little, give them a water on the end of that.
There's a leche.
Yeah. Sorry, reached dark brown. So I'm gonna give them some more bedding.
So we're using these cement blocks. You can get them at big box stores, and I really like them for an easy way to start a raised bed. And she's stacked 2 up, and then you drive rebarb down the center. So that's
Don't do that.
Don't drive the rebar? Okay, don't need the rebarb. Okay.
Because then you can't, you know, because then now we're trapped.
Yeah, then you can't move it.
Yeah.
So we are leveling for those stones over here because we had a little bit of a low spot. So yeah, I really like these stones though.
They're really
quick and easy way. And she got hers from somebody.
My next door neighbor.
Yeah, next door neighbor was moving and gave up his stones. So all of this material is gathered. And
so note to self, when somebody says, do you want, just say yes. Don't let them finish the sentence.
True. So Lynn got a chip drop too. I've talked to you guys about that before. Free chips, depending on where you live, free chips. Just sign up at chipdrop.com and yeah, get a load, but make sure you're ready for your garden workout.
It's not work for sissies.
Right. We're gonna use this to level some of the garden beds, and then we're gonna fill them up just a little bit with it.
It'll kill the weeds and add compostable material that'll break down over time.
Yeah.
The production in that garden bed might not be great the first year from what I understand, but over time, it'll be great.
Excellent, yes. And the garden has now doubled. Homestead victory. We're gonna break for some lunch. Halfway through the process, it looks like a mess right now, but it will be a garden bed in just a minute. I think we did pretty good working with scrap lumber and free stones. So yes, getting closer. All right, we finished 2 beautiful raised beds for the garden season ahead. Yes.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you, for sure.
It was fun. So it looks like it's pretty filled with mulch, but it's just keeping the cardboard from blowing away, and it will tamp down. It will definitely shrink down. And these are walking onions, you guys. Have you heard of walking onions? They have the onion sprout at the top, the bulb at the top, and then it bends over and plants itself, so that's why they call it walking onions. That's so cool. So cool. So we haven't got them filled yet, but we're exhausted. This is the hardest part, is making the garden. We're tired but happy.
We are very tired and happy. It's good. It makes me feel very accomplished.
Yes, absolutely.
Successful gardening has happened.
Yes, for sure. Bye, you guys.